Hey, it's JP again.
What's up, you guys? Today I'm drawing Sam in a car. I'm doing a little bit of a different style here. I'm gonna try and make it more of an actual painting style, less layers. We're not dividing everything into individual layers with highlights, shadows for one object and then highlights, shadows for another object. It's more just gonna be blotchy and overlaid and stuff like that. But decided to give a new style a shot, and other than that, as far as personal life goes, nothing really new. I've been drinking a lot of water lately. It's pretty hot here in California. I'm up in the more mid to northern area in California, and the last few weeks we've been hitting some really hot weather. So water has been my best friend. I even got these little packets, these little electrolyte packets, 0 sugar packets of electrolytes that I put in my water bottle. I'll drink. I have like a 48 ounce water bottle, and I try and drink it 3 times throughout the day. The real goal is to hit 4 times, but if I can hit it 3 times, refill it 3 times and finish it, then I'm pretty hydrated. Except I wasn't absorbing the water, so I bought the electrolyte packets, and I'll try and do at least 2 refills with one of the electrolyte packets, just so that, you know, my body's like not just getting water, it's getting the salts and things that it needs as well to absorb the water. But yeah, I've also cut back on drinking. I used to drink a lot before I moved up here. This last year, 2021, I've actually done really well with laying back on the alcohol, you know. So which dehydrates the hell out of you. Drinking alcohol does. But when I was down in Southern California, one of my roommates was a connoisseur of the same types of alcoholic beverages that I was into as well. We both loved a good whiskey, and we both loved a good gin, which is, you know, it's a very interesting. It's cool when you run into somebody and you know somebody that you can share something with, but it's rare that you meet somebody with a specific, like, niche thing that you're into that they are also into, and then you're also just friends with each other on top of it, and then you can also share that niche thing. And most whiskey drinkers I know, most people who can enjoy a good whiskey, they don't also usually like gin. It's such a different flavor. You know, you get the floral and the herbal notes in a gin. It's prettier flavor wise. It's not as strong as a whiskey, which there's some, like a scotch, don't get me wrong, there's some good scotches out there, but I also find scotch to be some of the more buttery flavored whiskeys than other whiskeys, like bourbons. And even Irish whiskey doesn't taste as, even though it's relatively from the same location, it's made differently. And I don't know much about the different processes that make, you know, this specific whiskey, that specific whiskey, besides the fact that a scotch has to be made in Scotland, and an Irish whiskey has to be made in Ireland, and a bourbon has to be made in Kentucky? Yeah, Kentucky has to be a bourbon. So yeah, other than that, I don't know, like, if there's a specific wood that the barrel has to be made out of, but it's a completely different flavor. You know, it's totally different than if you were drinking gin. The people who drink gin, I feel like, don't usually mingle as much, or the connoisseurs of a good gin with herbal infusions. You know, my roommate used to put rosemary and sometimes like rose petal, the different things into our gins. We'd infuse it into to make our gin even more floral and herbal than it already was. And it was just, it's something that we enjoyed. We enjoyed the flavor of gin already, but there's so many little things that can complement it. But then we could also just enjoy a good whiskey, on the rocks or just neat. I like my whiskeys neat. I like my whiskeys neat more than I like them on the rocks, because I rarely have had whiskey, like granite whiskey stones or an actual whiskey stone, and so I've had to use like ice, and ice waters down my whiskey, and then I'm not getting the flavor that I'm trying to get by drinking that whiskey. I'm not a big fan of mixed drinks either. It's like a once in a blue moon thing. I'll have like a cocktail, but if I'm feeling a cocktail, it's usually an infused gin, not so much messing with my whiskey. I drink whiskey because I like the flavor of whiskey. I enjoy the bite that it has. I enjoy a good rye whiskey. I enjoy a good bourbon, but I'm drinking it for its peat flavor, or its oak barreled or cherry barrel flavor that it has, not because I want to drink alcohol and I want to taste Coca-Cola, but also have whiskey in it. Like I'm not a big soda drinker anyway, so that's always been a little bit sacrilegious to me. Chasers are never really my thing, which is dope because my roommate was the same. He was super into, he did, like, we could still, obviously, if someone brought a cheap, $15 bottle of vodka over, it's like, yeah, okay, give me some orange juice, let's turn this into a screwdriver, because I sure as hell ain't drinking that neat. That's gasoline. But if we had the money and we could go get, a nice $80 bottle of whiskey, and that would last us for the month or whatever. It's like, it was nice to have someone else that could enjoy those things with me. Also fed kind of the slight alcoholism that I had back then, because when you're in a situation with other people who like alcohol, then it's easier to fall into, hey, we're both here, we both like this specific alcohol, and we both have this specific alcohol, let's make a drink. It's nighttime, and I don't work till 11 tomorrow or whatever. Yeah, let's make a couple drinks, just sit back, watch some Netflix, browse, just kick back and drink. And it wasn't like a negative thing, but it can lead to a little bit of a dependency on it. And so it was kind of, while I was living down there, it was just one of those things where I rarely went to bed without having at least 2 drinks. But moving up here, I drink a lot more water. I maybe have 1 or 2 beers a week, if that. Like, there'll be multiple times where I'll go a month without having a drink, not even a light beer. And then there will be some times where it's a couple of my friends' birthdays back to back, and then I'll have, a beer at one party, and then a couple days later I'll be at the next party, I'll have a beer and a seltzer or something. But I'm still not doing the hard alcohol right now. I'm trying to stay hydrated in this heat, and stay healthy. I got a gym membership, which means I'm sweating even more than just the heat is causing me to sweat. So that's just another added reason why it's like I probably shouldn't be drinking alcohol very often, because it's just going to dehydrate me more than I'm already naturally dehydrating myself. Not saying anything about anybody who drinks on a daily basis. It's not for me at the moment. But yeah, here's Sam, my character, leaning out of the backside of a car, leaning out of the front side of a car looking back. Just tried to go loose and fast with this one. I tried to pay as much attention to shadows and stuff like that as I possibly could without like using too much reference. I tried to just use my sketch as reference, which my sketch was pulled from, was referenced from a photo, but yeah. Don't forget to drop a subscribe and a like and help me out a little bit, support me in that way. Even just sharing the video with a friend that you know that likes whiskey or gin or likes digital art would be dope. And other than that, deuces.